What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Airbnb ABCs. I'm super happy to have you guys here today because we have just had the best month that we have ever had in the history of owning Airbnbs in one of our properties, and the other ones did extremely well also. And the reason that that's important is because up to this point in 2024, which is a year that I thought would be much better than 2023, or at least better than 2023, easier to rent, it has just not been that way. And if you look back at the videos that I've made on my Airbnb properties from January of 2024 up until the summertime of 2024, so probably starting in like June or so, you'll see that it's pretty much been doom and gloom. I was saying that things were very hard to book. The revenues were down. We just weren't seeing the sort of uptick that I had expected with the decreasing of interest rates, or the decreasing of not interest rates, but the decreasing of inflation, and just kind of in general a bettering of the economy, even though things are still pretty tight for most folks. And so we're going to go over the numbers for July 2024 of our three cabins that we have in Gatlinburg. And like most markets, June and July are very high months. If you are looking at beach properties, those are going to be the highest months. And actually in the Smokies, you do get several high periods, including spring break, summer vacation, fall, and the holidays. So you really have a very large season and a lot of spaces to make lots of money and have these high marks versus your lower seasons like your Januaries, Februaries, Mays, and Septembers. Now for this year, 2024, spring break was sort of a bust. Spring was kind of a bust. There's a lot of reasons that people are throwing around about that, as far as, Easter came a little bit early, so maybe that kind of threw off some of the spring break planning. But in my opinion, I just felt like people just were strapped for cash and, weren't traveling, at least the Smokies, during that time period. But for July of 2024, we have just killed it. And I'm just going to go through these, and we'll do this in the typical YouTube fashion, where I go through from the lowest one up to the highest one. And we'll talk about them along the way. So the first one we have is our cabin that we call Whispering Woods. It is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath cabin. It's actually our largest cabin by square footage. It's very well laid out, but it doesn't have a view. And if you are looking for a place in Gatlinburg and Sevierville, this awesome market that is the #1 Airbnb market in the world, according to Airbnb, having a view is one of the biggest amenities that you can have. This one does not have a view, but it does show that you can have a cabin that does not have a view, and it still does well. For the month of July 2024, we did $7,266.30 in gross revenue, and our net revenue was $3,424.05. The second cabin that we have is our cabin called Moonlight Ridge, and this is also a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. One of those bedrooms is a loft bedroom, but it has some really cool amenities. It has community pools. It's got 3 community pools. It has indoor and outdoor wood-burning fireplaces that have just been a tremendous hit for all of our guests. So if you're looking at a place and it has a wood-burning fireplace, and more importantly, like an outdoor wood-burning fireplace, people are going to rent for that. And we have a lot of people come back for that. And we did just under what our max was ever for this cabin as well. We did about $9,500. We did $9,499.85 in gross revenue, with $6,236.23 in net revenue. And the thing that kind of aggravated me with this is towards the end of July, we had a few weekdays that did not book. And I just couldn't get in the book from us. I think I dropped the prices down like $150 a night, which is really low for July. And we would have broken through that $10,000 mark, but just couldn't get it done for this month. But there still was a tremendous month for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath cabin that the mortgage on it is only about $2,400 a month. And the first one is also about $2,400 a month as well. And so that kind of leads me into what people are talking about. You can't get these type of numbers anymore because of the time that we bought it. And granted, the time that we bought this place in, this Moonlight Ridge was a $525,000 cabin. It's only like 1,200 square feet, and it is essentially a 1-bedroom with a loft bedroom that we market as a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. At the time, the interest rate was awesome. It's 3.125%, and it made the mortgage $2,400, including the taxes, insurance, the principal and interest, everything out the door. A PMI. $2,400 a month. But if you were to do this today, I would expect the mortgage on that total out the door to be about another $1,000 higher, because I'm looking at buying places right now. I'm looking at what the actual cost is. And so, your gross revenue number isn't going to change. It'll still be that $9,500 amount, but you would, end up taking $1,000 off of your net profit. So in this case, we would go from $6,200 to $5,200. And so you have to say, is that worth it for you? For me, it is. And that's why we are looking to buy again. And, that is just something I hear a lot of people saying, is that you can't get the numbers that you could, 2 or 3 years ago. That is true, but does that make any difference when you're still, making a significant amount of money? Now, our number one month for this place was in July 2021, where we did about $11,300, and that was a wild time, and it was pretty easy to make a whole bunch of money in one single month. Now, our standout for this month is going to be our property that we call Pop's Pinnacle. This is a place that is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, but with a loft bedroom that we have bunk beds in. So we market it as a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And again, if you guys are marketing something that has a loft bedroom in it, it is very important that you make that very clear in your description and your pictures, so that folks don't get there and have a different idea about what the place is versus what it actually is. But for July 2024, we did $12,436.83 in gross revenue, and our net was $7,285.64. This is a cabin that has about a $3,600 mortgage on it. We bought it for $600,000, and it has a 6.25% interest rate. So I do think that this is a realistic look at something that you could probably get for close to those numbers today. Now, this place has an absolutely outstanding view. It's like an unlimited view of mountain ranges. It was marketed very poorly by the listing agent when they had it on the market. The trees were growing up. There was no view. We were able to cut down a lot of that stuff, make a tremendous view. And this is an example of how kind of view sort of rules everything, in my opinion, in the vacation rental market, whether it's the beach, whether it's the mountains, whether it's anywhere. When you can wake up, walk out on your deck, have a cup of coffee, and you have this tremendous view, it is simply going to rent well. And so I think that you could get something like this in the range of, for financing, and not all this depends on how much you're willing to put down and your credit score and your interest rate and lots of other things. But I do think that between $3,600 and $4,500 per month is a reasonable amount that you could get this for. And so if you're looking at that, and you're looking at the net number, that's $7,285, and you're going to take, $1,000 off of that for that $1,000, maybe more that you have to pay than I do, because it's simply the time that you got this in. What does that, say for you as far as if you're going to buy this or not buy it? And that's, something for you all to decide, and something that's up to each individual investor as far as other investments that they have, rates of return, and what your individual investment goals are. Now, why do I think that this is happening as far as this just, sort of explosion in revenue? Is it just because it's the summertime? Is it just because of, some other variable? I have two reasons why I think that this is the case. One of them is something I'm doing, and the other is something that's happening in the world. For me, we have invested in better pictures. That is going to be your number one thing for your entire listing. It's going to be the number one thing that people lands on, that when they're scrolling through hundreds or thousands of places for them to spend their hard-earned vacation money and vacation time. A lot of people only have 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks a year of vacation if they're lucky to get towards that upper end. And so spending that vacation money and that time, they're going to be, looking for the best that they can possibly get with the budget that they have. And so if you have, just tremendous pictures that really showcase your place in the absolute best way possible, especially for that cover photo, you're going to get better results. And that's what we did. We went out and we hired who I think is the best photographer in the Smokies market. His name's Mike Sutton. He's not sponsored by, he doesn't sponsor this channel. He doesn't really, I pay him. He just does very good work, and so I always recommend him to folks. He got us twilight pictures, which is a very dramatic looking set of photos, and it really helps. And I think that people are looking at our places, especially the Whispering Woods one. It's tremendously better than the previous set of pictures that we had taken that did not include the twilight photographs, and I believe that that's getting us far more bookings. On the Pop's Pinnacle place, that is what I think has driven us to new highs for our, single month gross and net profits. And I think that the pictures are the difference maker between your listing really doing well and either doing average or not so great. So if you guys are having trouble getting bookings or getting the rates that you want, look at your pictures. Really consider spending $1,000, $1,200, depending on how big your place is, and getting just tremendous pictures taken for it. The other thing that I think is happening is that I think globally, or at least in the United States, we are getting into a better financial picture for the individual person. Now we can talk about macroeconomics and national debt and all this other stuff that is very important, in the big picture. But for the small picture, the rate of inflation is coming down, so prices are going up at a slower pace. And I think that is helping folks out as people start getting raises that may not keep up with inflation, but may be larger than they have been getting in the past. They may feel a little bit better, because a lot of times with money, it is more about feeling than how it is about the way things are actually going. And so if people are feeling like money is getting a little bit easier, people are feeling like the rate of inflation coming down is going to help them, they're going to be more likely to spend money. And I think that in the months in the second half of 2024 and into 2025, we are going to see interest rates cut. I think that we are going to continue to see a general decline in the rate of inflation, at least the rate of inflation that's reported by the government, which is what everyone reports on, which is what makes the news, which is what makes people feel better about their own financial situation, and so they may be able to spend more on their vacations. So, guys, that is the best month that we have ever had on Airbnb, July 2024. I hope that things only get better from here, and this is the start of sort of a general uptick from the downturn that we saw through, the end of 2022 through really the, middle to beginning of 2024. I think that things are going to be looking up. Tell me how you guys are doing out there. Tell me if you're seeing the same things. If you guys haven't yet, subscribe down below. If you like this, you got some value out of it, hit that like button for me. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.